Hi.
Hello again. We're in the finished mystery, now on page 26, dealing with Revelation chapter 2, verses 5 to 7. And here's how those verses read in the ESV. Remember, therefore, from where you have fallen, repent, and do the works you did at first. If not, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place, unless you repent. Yet this you have. You hate the works of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the one who conquers, I will grant to eat of the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing that strikes me right away again is that who is he talking to here? Well, the text plainly says Christ is addressing a church that then existed around the year 96 AD. But you have it that he's talking to an age of the church.
Yeah.
And so when you get to their interpretation, you realize that concept is controlling everything they now say.
Yeah. So it's not to a whole congregation that he's talking. You know, the application they make to the candlestick, being removed unless they repent, they say the nominal church was in grave danger of being disowned. So they've split the church up into
Pretenders,
the good guys and the bad
Christians,
guys. Yeah.
and real Christians.
Yeah.
Which is not in the text at all. It's the same church being reproved now,
Mm-hmm.
and being threatened really with the removal of their candlestick. The same church that is being faithful.
Yeah.
And is not putting up with false apostles, etc.
And then their application to the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which they translate as being conquerors of the people, they say that is the clergy. And they say,
how they put it.
The next part they say, which I also hate, when the Lord's people hate the idea of a class that seeks to be Lord over God's heritage, they hate something that the Lord hates. Well, you can't help but almost laugh when you read that.
How ironic.
Yeah.
Why is it ironic? Because you're talking about a clergy class.
And now you have an FDS class.
That what? Lorded over God's heritage.
And really, churches, the clergy of churches don't have any kind of control like they have. Their control is life or death.
That's right.
But the clergy, they're not even trying to exert that kind of power over people.
There were times in Christian history where that kind of phenomenon was
Mm-hmm.
present, but it was a minority, and it's not been around now for centuries. But
Mm-hmm.
your power has grown with the century that's gone by since this was published.
Yeah.
This idea that you have to attach yourself to a class of men, and that your life depends on your loyalty to that class of men, and therefore you are dead if you do not attach yourself to that class of men.
Yeah.
I just think this is not just laughable; it's tragic. You've done the very thing you criticize Christendom for, unjustly, by the way.
Yeah. And now if you take it back and you're looking at Ephesus, what happened to them? I think that is, from the point of view of Christians now, when you look at the history of those specific churches and believe they are specific churches, you come up with some profound understandings.
And Ramsey, among others, has made the point, and it's going to be in the video we're going to attach at the end.
Mm-hmm.
William Ramsey, the great archaeologist, knighted Sir William Ramsey for his contributions to archaeology, has made the point that it's not accidental that the two churches that survived of the seven are Smyrna and Philadelphia, the two that are praised without any criticism here, whereas the other five churches have perished. And that includes the church in Ephesus. But he didn't move their candlestick right away. Christ is the one judging, not us. He's not distinguishing between Smyrna and Ephesus and saying one is true religion and one is false religion. He's the judge, and when he wants to move the candlestick, if it's merited, he will move. And in the case of Ephesus, it took at least 7 or 8 centuries for that to happen, because 3 of the great councils of the first 1,000 years of the church took place in this very city.
Yeah.
So it retained its position as an important church for many centuries, but today
it's
ruins.
Yeah.
Whereas Smyrna is still a thriving community, and a Christian community at that, in Turkey.
Yeah.
I think the reference to paradise we should mention too here. This is only one of 3 places where the word paradise is used in the Greek scriptures.
And that was a big surprise to me.
Only 3?
Yeah. 3 in the New Testament? That just seems unbelievable when you're talking about it all the time as a Jehovah's Witness.
So, of course, Christ mentions it in his brief dialogue with the thief, the robber beside him on the cross. Paul mentions it once in reference to the third heaven, which was referenced here. But has to do with heaven. And it's interesting, the Watchtower again has changed its mind. Here, third heaven has something to do with paradise earth, the way they explain it here.
Yeah.
But nowadays they've distinguished and said, well, there's the paradise, the third heaven paradise, which is for this 144,000, and then there's paradise earth for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yet another example of how their positions have morphed over the centuries since this came out.
And how you see things that aren't there when you're reading the Watchtower literature.
But again, going back to the idea of no, we're not talking about 2 different groups here. One is true religion and one's false. One's pretend Christians and one's true Christians. We're talking about a church that was a mixed bag, and it was a mixed bag then, and it continued to be a mixed bag for centuries afterwards, until Christ finally did carry out his threat to move the candlestick. And that's the way it is, of course, in the parables of the kingdom of heaven, isn't it? Let
The
wheat and weeds grow together until the harvest.
Yeah. So you're going to link the Revelation playlist.
Yeah, the Revelation playlist, and also one of the 2 videos we did on, it was more than 2, but anyway, this is the first of them, the Smyrna video, where there's some reference to the historical outcome for the contrast between the city of Smyrna and the city of Ephesus over time.
Yeah. Okay.
See you next time.